We've been talking about more with less, and I'm just about done. So if you're getting sick and tired about hearing about more with less, I understand, me too, and we're about done. But this one I think is really important. There's a few that I just need you to hang with me on. And some of these kind of overlap. Last week we were talking about making choices, and to make good choices you have to be responsible, you have to take responsibility. I'm going to talk a little bit more about being responsible. So more responsibility, less excuses. We can have a part to play, or we can be played. If we're not going to take responsibility, get ready to be played, because others are going to do things to you, and if you're not willing to take responsibility for your life, you're not going to have control over your life, because you're letting your fate up to other people. So here's the first thing that I think is really important, and this is probably the hardest thing about taking responsibility, and that is you got to stop the self-pity. How many of you guys have been there where something bad has happened in your life, somebody did something to you that you find really painful or hurtful or has really messed up your life, truly, like they should not have done it, but they did it. And so you're upset, you're feeling it, and you just want to sit there in that self-pity and feel really bad for yourself. Am I the only person that does that? No? There's a couple other humans here too? Good. That's hard. When you're in that self-pity mode, you just kind of want to hang out there. But as long as you're hanging out in self-pity, I want us to think of self-pity as like the slough of despond or despair. I don't know what it was called in Christian. Pilgrim's Progress. The bog? The bog of despair. So it's true, there are things that happen to us where we walk into the bog of despair, where there's bad problems. But when we're in there, if we just like the feeling of being in there and complaining about it and feeling bad for ourselves for how horrible it is, truth is, it is horrible. But if you do that, you're just staying there. You're not actually moving through it. So stop the self-pity. Stop looking out at circumstances and blaming others. As long as you're looking around and blaming others, you're not moving forward. You're not moving through the bog of despair. The other thing, what feels good won't give good results. This is so true. So while it feels great to kind of hang out in that area, maybe to talk to some friends who are going to, kind of commiserate with you, you're just staying right in it. You're not moving through it. You're not actually doing things that are going to change the situation. You're not taking responsibility for the situation and saying, what part can I play? Yeah, this is really a sucky situation right now, but what can I do to change it? So if you're self-pitying, you're just like doing what feels good. You're just hanging out in there, rolling around in the mud. Making excuses gives other people power over our lives. This one's big. If you guys have ever watched the Andy Griffith Show, and Otis, you know how he was pretty familiar with the jail cell? He'd come in and lock himself in and sleep for the night. I want you to think of that. Making excuses gives other people power over our lives. It's like you are saying, I'm okay with locking myself in a jail cell and letting other people be in control of my life. Okay? When you make an excuse for something, you're saying, I have no part to play in this. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to lock myself up and let other people take care of my life. So I want you to think of that. You're locking yourself up. You're Otis right now, locking yourself up, and you're in a jail cell because you're giving other people control over your life by making excuses. You're acting like there's nothing you can do about the situation. Lastly, friends who blame others and make excuses with us are not true friends. If you have the kind of friends who are very quick to join you on your side and talk bad about the people that are causing problems in your life and really just commiserate with you but not actually help you make it through it and make good choices and get out of it, those are not good friends. And those kind of people in your life will bring you down. They will help you stay right where you are and not help you move forward. So really look at that. So stop the self-pity and then start the thinking. And this is the hard part. When we're in the self-pity mode, often we don't have any energy, we're tired, and we're mad, maybe we're grumpy. But in that moment is when we need to say, yep, somebody wronged me, but what can I do about this? You need to start thinking. Start looking in at our resources and take responsibility. So instead of looking out, we need to look in and say, what can I do? Instead of looking at the circumstances and saying, look, I'm in a sailboat and I'm trying to go from the Americas to the European side of the country here, or over to Europe, and there's a storm that comes up, and we're like, we can't even get there because this storm is just coming straight at us. No, actually, what can we do? We can actually zigzag in our ship, and eventually we'll get there. So you have control. You actually can do something. Start looking in at your resources and take responsibility. And then kind of the opposite of what feels good isn't actually good for you. What doesn't feel good will give the good results. And I've talked about this before, but sometimes when I'm tired and when I just want to like turn my brain off, sitting down and watching a movie would be a great thing. It feels like. But when I'm done with the movie, if there's a problem I'm facing that I need to look at and think through, start thinking, I'm not going to feel any better after the movie. Actually, I'm going to probably feel worse because the problem just, in my mind, just grew or it didn't go away. So I escape reality for a little bit, then I come back and I still have my problem. So in that moment, it's more important that I take time to think. And so sometimes Sarah will help me and be like, you know what, we need to go for a walk and just talk. And so then we'll talk about whatever it is that's bothering either one of us. And as we walk and talk and we start thinking about the problem and how we can actually change it, we actually come up with a solution, then I feel better because I actually fixed the problem. I started thinking. It's hard work. It's much harder work to think through the problem than to just turn the brain off, but that's what's going to give you the good result. So taking responsibility gives us power over our own life. Now I want you to go back to the jail cell with Otis, and I want you to think that you're locked in. You locked yourself in, but all of a sudden when you take responsibility, it's like you have a key in your pocket and you can let yourself back out. So you might have put yourself in that situation. If you have, remember when you take responsibility, you're taking your life back. You're getting your freedom back, okay? Often we think if we can blame it on others, then we don't have to like mess with it or it's not our problem. But the opposite is actually true. If we can take responsibility, then we can actually take our life back. Again, friends who help us take responsibility and don't let us blame others are true friends. The reason I married Sarah, right there. I've told you guys that before. But a good friend who will speak truth to you and tell you what you need to hear, that's the kind of person you want in your life because they're going to actually make you move forward. They're going to make you a better person. Lastly, make it happen. So stop the self-pitying, start the thinking, and then make it happen. Good things don't happen on their own. We need to do them ourselves. It takes work. It takes actually doing the thing that we say we're going to do, following through on the thoughts we had. This is a really neat point right here. Our actions cause a ripple effect and often change things we have no control over. So other people may hurt us or situations may be bad, but as we take responsibility for the things we can without trying to control other people, just us doing the right thing often helps other people around us and the situation around us kind of right itself, if that makes sense. It has a ripple effect. When somebody is being smart and doing the right thing, other people want to be smart and do the right thing, even the people who are hurting you. So it actually changes the situation for real. It changes the situation in our minds, but then it actually changes the situation externally. Good things come to those who wait if they take responsibility. We've heard that saying a lot. Good things come to those who wait. But I want to say if you take responsibility. And this is something I'm going to talk about sometime, but it's the delayed results of good behavior and the delayed consequences of bad behavior. When you are on a certain track, a certain momentum, when you're doing the right things and you start doing things that are unhealthy, it takes a little while for you to notice that, oh man, I shouldn't be doing that because that's really actually making me not feel good. I'm way too busy, but for the longest time, I don't know it because I've been doing the right thing up to that point and I had lots of energy and then I take on too much, but my energy just kind of keeps going for a bit and then it starts to curve down. So good things come to those who wait if they take responsibility means you might be in a bad situation, but start doing the right thing. And when you're in the middle of that bad situation, you feel really bad. But when you start doing the right thing, give it some time after you do the right thing for some time, you're going to start feeling good again. Make sense? If you start doing something in that bad situation that's the right thing to do, it might not feel good right away. It might be like, man, I still feel tired. Even if I'm like not doing as much as I used to, even if I'm taking time for myself and I'm thinking through things, I still feel really tired. Well, that's why you have to wait. Good things come to those who wait when you're doing the right thing. So give it some time. When you're in the middle of that pit, give it some time to start walking out of it, and soon you'll be on dry ground and you'll start feeling better. Lastly, take responsibility of our lives for life. So this is not something you do kind of at the start when you're young. No, this is something you got to do for life. Taking responsibility never gets easier. It never gets easier because you'll hit a situation where it's like, that person is the one that's responsible for my problems. What is their problem? I'm going to go, whatever, talk about them. But it's never easier than it was before to take responsibility. So just kind of strap yourself in for the long haul and be ready to take responsibility of your life for the lifetime. If you can do that, you can actually get somewhere. So let's have more responsibility and let's make less excuses. And to do that, we need to stop the self-pity. That's the first thing. Start thinking is the second, and then make it happen. Put it into action. And here's a little thing here. The greater our challenges are, the more important being responsible becomes, and the bigger the outcome can change. So some of us have gone through really, really, really difficult things. Other people have caused really painful things in our lives. And I'm sorry for that. But in those things, the bigger the challenge, the more important it is that you take responsibility, because that has a much bigger potential for a bigger outcome change. Because if it's a big thing and you just roll with it and you decide that, you know what, other people can control my life, it can really send you off into the wrong direction. But if you take responsibility, it can send you in the right direction, and that can be a huge change. I know several people in my life who have gone through things that I can't even imagine. Some have made really good decisions and took responsibility for what they could and have come out at a very good place. Others have just blamed everybody around them and are at a very bad place. So that's what I'm talking about there. Be a victim, make excuses. And victims get nowhere in life. Okay? Be responsible and make a life. So it's the difference between making excuses. If you're the kind of person that makes excuses, you're being a victim and you're not going to get anywhere. But if you're the kind of person that is very responsible, you're going to get somewhere. You might take responsibility for things that are not even yours to take responsibility for because you just really care about what you do or the people you're around and you're going to affect their life. That's how you make a life. So just remember that. Be a victim, make excuses, or be responsible and make a life.